Bum, bum, bum. Hello, anybody that's actually watching. We have a short cast today, but still a long show planned. We're going to get that started shortly, doing the beverage refills for Don and myself here, and I just wanted to get started promptly at 9:30 for once in my life. So, what you're seeing now, I'm going to edit out, at least as best as I can, depending on what YouTube actually allows. And then we're going to rock and roll. Doing the beverage refills for Don and myself here, and I just wanted to get started promptly at 9:30 for once in my life. So, what you're seeing now, I'm going to edit out, at least as I can, depending on what YouTube actually allows. And then we're going to rock and roll. I'm apparently my only viewer. Beverage refills for Don and myself here, and I just wanted to get started promptly at 9:30. What you're seeing now, I'm going to edit out, at least as I can, depending on what YouTube actually allows, and then we're going to rock and roll. I'm apparently my only viewer. Refills for Don and myself here. I just want to get started promptly at 9:30. What you're seeing now, I'm going to edit out, as it actually allows, and then we're going to rock and roll. I'm apparently my only viewer. I am my only viewer because I'm watching it twice. Okay. Stopping that.
I see you talking, but...
Yes, we are live.
Oh, great.
However, I was the only one watching, I think. Oh. If I'm incorrect, mystery viewer out there, please go out to ORlyradio.com and sign in with some random handle into the IRC and let us know that I'm not actually crazy, because that helps sometimes. So I'm going to get rid of that. Oh, geez, I don't think I can. Maybe I can. Refresh the page. Yeah, I only realized that I was streaming myself when I heard it on the computer behind me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're live. I see the logo.
And then I was like, wait a second, I just stopped that. Why am I hearing the same thing again and then again? And it was streaming in another window on this machine. It's like, oh, yay! So, what I'm planning on doing is editing the video. There are some tools for that on YouTube, so hopefully this doesn't screw the pooch, as it were.
Okay.
I didn't actually manage to get a link to this live broadcast from YouTube onto the show page, replacing the Justin TV thing. Okay. So I may have to do that every week, but you know what? Fuck it, I'll do it. It's an easy change. I can make that happen. Lickety-split.
Okay.
People may just have to refresh their page so that they actually get the right one. But that will be fine. Just fine. Fine. We're all fine here.
Fine.
What was it in the Italian Job? Frustrated, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. Fine.
I'm fine. Anne says she's feeling a little bit better. I don't know if...
Is she fine?
She's fine.
You ever try these?
No, I don't think so.
It's a little nasal inhaler. It's for a decongestant, basically. It has lots of chemicals that I can't actually describe or pronounce.
Those are the best types.
That's fantastic. But basically, what is it? It's like a little camphor stick. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a menthol kind of thing.
Okay.
And it opens up the breathing passages just a little bit for a little while.
That's good. Like Vicks Vapor Rub.
It's basically like a Vapo inhaler. And I think Vicks actually makes one too. This one's Nuprin.
Okay.
Brought to you by Nuprin.
Plug.
Can't breathe? We can help you.
I did some... Anne did some earlier because of her sinuses, and I did it when I get home. Pot of boiling water with some generic Vicks Vapor Rub in the water. And
I'm going to have to walk around for that one. Okay, hold that thought.
Okay.
Ever heard the Picard maneuver? Just the pulling your shirt down as you sit down?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the way we roll around here. Okay, so...
He did that in most every occasion.
Like, every occasion he sat down.
Yep. It's a good thing my chair is squeaky. It'd be hard to explain otherwise.
A little bit. So I try not to move around too much during the show, though I kind of have to sometimes. So it just happens.
Yep. No popcorn this time, so no crunching and no bag. Let's see. I don't know what else. I think that was all. I have everything open.
Oh gosh, I love Jon Stewart. Where is it? In reference to Dick Cheney, imagine going to work every day for 8 years and being wrong, and then towards the end of that time, shooting an old man in the face, and still people ask your opinion about things. That's remarkable. It really is.
Yeah. People respect it, even though it's... I don't know why.
Yeah, it's like, why are we respecting you? I do not understand this.
Because he's wealthy and had power at one point.
Yeah, well, I suppose that if I could get a contract with Halliburton, I'd probably take it too.
Yeah. What is it that you're drinking tonight?
I'm just drinking tea.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not in the mood to drink. I've had a horrible week, so just fuck it. Yeah. Not going to bother.
Yeah, and I don't blame you.
Yeah. Since I don't have any viewers right now, I'm not terribly concerned with what I say, what my language happens to be, et cetera, et cetera. I do try to not be too crude, because it really kind of just brings down the level of the room,
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm all for that. I think there's a lot. I grew up with the whole thing that swearing is not always right.
Yeah.
There can be a right place for it, but in most general place circumstances.
You're going to need to adjust your levels again. You're a little low.
Maybe because I'm leaning back. I don't know.
That could be.
Why does it keep changing?
Well, there is an automatic gain control.
Yeah.
Inside of both your computer and of Google Hangouts. And it fucks with things.
Yeah, the one in Google Hangouts is, I think, the one that's changing stuff.
Yeah, in theory, it should, as you continue to speak, it should actually raise your level. In practice, sometimes it doesn't do that.
Yeah. Oh, what did I get? Oh, that's Facebook. Okay, I need to close Facebook.
Yeah, I'm going to close Facebook as well, since I'm not getting anything interesting from there anymore tonight.
Yep. I mean, I put on there.
Yes, I saw that you're sharing it, and thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. There's a few people on who would be kind of interesting if they would join in. One of my previous coworkers would be interesting. He has strong opinions about politics and everything.
Yeah, I wonder. Speaking of that, let me see if Paul Castaneda is available, because he would be a hoot and a half. But he's probably occupied doing things. He's a busy guy. Yeah, he's on mobile anyway. He ain't around.
Yeah, I need to see if Ed would want to join. And Chris, my next door neighbor, I don't know if he would ever want to join, but he's interesting too. He went to our university as well, around the same time. I actually ended up realizing that I knew him.
It's like, wait, I know you.
Yeah, I met him in passing because he was a mutual friend of somebody in our major. And it's just like, I moved in next to him and it was like, you look very familiar. He says, you look very familiar. It's like, oh. How do we know each other? Okay. Yeah, I doubt. Close that. Maybe I can get Ann to come out and join in. Let me ask one last time.
I'm going to ask an opinionated person as well.
Hmm?
I'm asking a couple opinionated people as well.
Okay. Cat to do it. Okay, well, she might. She just keeps falling asleep.
So, Mike's fiance is online.
Oh.
So I said, if Mike is there, kick him onto the computer for me. But I had a typo, and instead of putting Mike, I put Kike. And said, whoops, that's the wrong one. Didn't. Never mind that.
That would be a problem.
Moving on.
Let me see. Let me just see who's on. See if there's anybody else. I wonder if he'd want to do that.
Rebecca would want to do it.
Hmm? Yeah, I was thinking that myself, but then there's also a ex-coworker of Ann's who's very opinionated in the other direction that we are. In the opposite.
I'm not against having somebody like that on. The only thing is, it would be irrelevant whatever we talked about.
Yeah.
Because all we talk about is why we think so differently about things.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
It's not really a problem. It's just a very different show.
Daniel?
Oh, he is on his computer. Well, where the hell has he been?
Hey, my ex-mother-in-law is on. Is online. Oh. Anyway. David's online, but he's on mobile.
Yeah, he's on mobile. He doesn't count.
He's on mobile. Mobile. Everybody's on mobile.
Yeah, everybody's away from their desk.
Yeah. Oh well. Okay, well. Okay, closing that.
Okay, so where's Mike? Says, I am on my computer. I give him the link. I have invited him 3 times. This was his neck.
Just click the link. You have to have Hangouts open to have that work? The link work? Should just open automatically. Oh,
aha! What the crap is going on here?
There you are.
I'm very confused.
What are you confused about? Yes, this is slightly different. Welcome to Hangouts on Air. We are actually live right now on the web.
Holy crap!
That's right. We are actually broadcasting straight to YouTube.
Holy crepe!
Yep. So it's there was some crazy audio problem that I was having with the other setup.
Yeah.
So that other setup was a little bit preferable because I got much better video quality out of it. But you know what? Fuck it. I don't really care.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as it gets uploaded and that's what I needed. So, have you had a chance to look over the show notes at all?
Very briefly. Okay, there we go. I was trying to fix that first. I exist again.
You do.
Where's this thing?
You're not just a random silhouette.
No.
It's got
Not a random silhouette.
A good fandango.
Galileo, will you do the fandango? I don't know. So, don't ask me what I'm talking about, because there is no sense.
No. It's all nonsense. There's no sense. The kiss broadcast around the world.
Are they giving a shit? Oh, oops.
Like you care.
Well, I care.
Live on the internet. It's Friday night.
It is, isn't it?
Well, that's not something new and different to the internet. That's actually really tame for the internet.
Oh yes, that's
Whatever.
not going to get us kicked off. That's for sure.
Kicked off. That's funny. Show notes. Here they are. I'm going.
Well, while we're waiting, I'm looking for a new webcam.
Okay. I'm trying to pull up a few more stuff here. I mean, come on. Somebody 3D printed their vagina.
Yeah, that's...
Come on.
Hey, why not? I mean...
Exactly. Why not? Go through and open up all these. There's some good stuff in here. Some stuff that'll just like, seriously? That's what they did?
Yep. Hilarious.
Pretty normal though. That's funny. Dan just said, "Hey, you free for a couple minutes?" No. Have you not been paying attention? I do.
Do
this
you not
thing.
know? Are you not entertained?
Answer me.
Are you not entertained?
Okay, let's see. National Review. Good stuff in here. Okay. It doesn't look like we're going to have David, so it's just going to be us guys. Anne is kind of under the weather, so she's under the blanket. Or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do I have beverage?
Now would be an excellent time for beveragey goodness.
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember if I have any beer left.
You know what? I just realized I need to get rid of some beverage, so it's also BioBreak.
There you go. Taking 5.
Was it thank you 5? You said take 5. I said thank you 5. Did you do the thing?
Yeah, sure is. Wait, do we have time for a beer run? You want to do a beer run?
Want a what?
Beer run.
B-W-W-N.
Beer run. Maybe? I may or may not be Ron Burgundy.
I don't know what to do here.
Okay, alright. Let's see. We still have no viewers. Yay! No. We should be viewers. That's okay. We get everybody after the fact anyway.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. It's one of those nights. It seems like everybody's either doing something or laying low.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of people are laying low.
Better they're out and about, like, doing something.
Yeah.
Oh, ho, ho. I don't know what you got, but it looks good.
It's okay.
It's okay?
Okay. 1080p camera? I don't know. I don't know if my uplink can handle 1080p.
Yeah, well, that's probably half the battle right there.
Yeah. Anyway. They have webcams now for like a few dollars. $12-megapixel webcam with microphone and 6 LED for night vision. $3.95.
Grar.
So what was that you were pouring?
It is a so-so scotch, but still.
So-so scotch?
Yeah, but it's still scotch, you know. It's kind of like pizza, even if it's so-so. Freaking pizza.
Yeah, that's right.
Scotchy, scotch. Here it goes down into my belly.
And all that it entails. Okay, so let's see here. Okay. Okay, bounce off the internet here. Bounce off the Facebook, I should say. And I reached out to the head of guerrilla skepticism on Wikipedia, Susan Gerbic. And basically, trying to do a little cross promotion here. So she went ahead and recorded me a promo, basically. So
that's cool.
So we're going to play that right at the top of the show. I'll put a little music underneath it to pep it up a little bit, because otherwise it's kind of dull.
Okay.
And then it'll go into the actual show intro. This week is let's see, is there any theme here? I really kind of wish that David was joining us, simply because we were talking like right at the top about what gerrymandering is.
Yeah.
And how, amazingly enough, Florida, like just recently, a judge just laid the smackdown on everybody.
Yep.
In fact, that was what was that? Yeah, it was today at 8 p.m. So this is actually like breaking news almost.
Yep.
Your evening edition with ORly Radio. So far we are as yet untitled. Seeing we got
ORly Radio
War Against the Nerds. What was that?
ORly Radio, the Untitled Edition.
There's a podcast group based out of AOL.com called Tested, and they work with a bunch of different people. But one of their shows has Adam Savage on it, and his show is called the As Yet Untitled Adam Savage Project.
Awesome.
That is the name of the show. So okay, like ultra specific. Let's see. Average American life in a rather depressing small chart. An Alabama state official actually said that carbon standards violate God's law.
Because that makes sense.
Actually said it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Of course, the House is suing Obama, because that makes sense as well. So it's highly political this week.
Yep.
Politics runs amok. Amok.
Yeah, it's definitely amok. Now, didn't I mean to put that one in there? Yeah, I guess I did. But not because of Gaza, but because of the insurance about the U.S. That's what that was going to be about. So at the top, I'm going to basically introduce the gerrymandering thing, and then I'm going to let it play, because it's like 2 minutes of the best explanation of actually what gerrymandering is that could possibly be mustered. So, and then we'll get into that a little bit about the Florida court here. So, read up on that real quick, and then we'll jump into it.
There it is. I have no snacks in my squirrel hole.
You should maybe do something about that.
I have no snacks. That makes me sad.
Now, would that be a squirrel hole, or would it be more of a chipmunk burrow?
Well, Jess calls it the squirrel hole, so.
Okay.
Because I've got this, I mean, you know the desk I have and the tiny little drawer it's got?
Yeah.
I put snacks in there. It's my squirrel hole. I squirrel it away.
was going to say it's not stored down somewhere in your
No.
cheek.
No.
Nice. Yeah, right there in the cheek.
No.
Totally there in the cheek. Tongue in cheek.
No. Not so much. Wouldn't work, because it would be too easy to just eat it. I couldn't store anything for any length of time.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, that's always the problem.
Terrible.
Once it's in the mouth, it's gone.
It's done. It's over.
And a mouth gone. All right, so we are doing the secondary recording of the audio as well, so that is running smoothly.
Smooth.
Also, yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
Smooth.
About as smooth as this is going to get. How about that? All right, think we're ready to do this? Get it on? Get it done?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay. Then in 3, 2, 1. And it's too fucking low.
Womp womp.
Here we go. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, ORly podcast listeners.
And it started too late. God, fuck.
We'll get it.
Take
3, 2, 1.
Hello, ORly podcast listeners. I am Susan Gerbic, a skeptical activist. Are you tired of arguing with believers and want to make a lasting contribution to scientific skepticism and actually educate people worldwide? Well, I have the perfect project for you. Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia edits Wikipedia pages that concern scientific skepticism. Lately, we've been concentrating on everything concerning our spokespeople. We have just finished new page creations for Emily Lakdawala, Stephen Novella, Center for Inquiry, Joe Nickel, Blake Lamb, Chris Mooney, Richard Weissman, Neil Gershenfield, Maynard from the Skeptic Zone, Nathan Phelps, and so much more, including my favorite pseudoscience, spontaneous human combustion, which, would you believe, gets about 26,000 views each month. We train and mentor in a friendly, welcoming environment. Or if you lack the time right now to join the power club that is GSOW, you might want to participate in some activism light. Follow Skeptic Action on Twitter, Facebook, or Google+, and you can help keep pseudoscience at bay with about 30 seconds of work each day by using Web of Trust and Rebutter. Questions? Write to us at gsowteam@gmail.com.
We're just trying to change the world here, people.
Oh, really?
The Facebooking and the tweeting and the Instagramming, all that would not exist without our understanding of science.
It's amazing how you took that as an insult.
You mean true for you is different from true for anybody else?
Yeah, absolutely, because I can't
Something's
prove-
either got to be true or not.
I can't, no.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the ORly Radio Show. This is episode 17 for Friday, August 1st, 2014. I'm your ever-present host, Andy, and today we have Mike, and we've got Don.
What up,
everybody.
folks?
Hello, everybody.
So that was, thank you very much to Susan Gerbic for giving us that little intro and promo for Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia. They're doing some really great work out there, and I'm really happy that she was willing to do a little cross-promotion with us. All the show notes down in my picks section will have the links that she was talking about, so to make it super easy, just go out to our webpage where you probably already found the podcast and everything, and then just go ahead and click through and get involved. Strike down the horrible pseudoscience. Bring rationality back to the world, etc. So, getting right into it, we've been talking a little bit about gerrymandering. And I don't know about you, but it kind of doesn't really make sense right off the bat because, well, they named it after a person, and so it doesn't really mean anything unless you know the history of it. So, Ezra Klein, who is a really great, he's a reporter for many of the websites out there. He has a really great analysis, and I'm going to let him explain it. And this is out on Vox.com. Again, there's a link in the show notes right at the top of the page. But here you go.
There are some things in life that Canada is just better at. Poutine, for instance, being polite, appreciating Robin Sparkles, and these days, elections. America does something very weird in its elections. The way elections are supposed to work is voters choose their politicians. But in America, politicians often get to choose their voters. The word gerrymandering comes from Elbridge Gerry. He was governor of Massachusetts from 1810 to 1812. After he took office, his party redrew the map of the state Senate districts in a shockingly partisan manner. The aim was to help his party win as many elections as possible by creating as many districts as it could, or at least 51% of the voters would favor Gerry's allies. And that's basically what gerrymandering is. We've got 435 congressional districts in this country. Somebody needs to divide them up. And amazingly, most states let politicians divide them up. The results are totally predictable. You can see how this works in North Carolina. Democrats won 50.5% of the House vote in 2012. But Republicans won 9 House seats to the Democrats' 4. If you want to see why, just look at the map. Look at District number 4. It kind of looks like two legs running away from this whole mess. Look at District 9, which is getting punched in the neck by District 5 and kicked in the gut by District 12. And damn, look at District 12. It's like a little worm wriggling away from North Carolina. These districts may look weird, but they're what political scientists call efficient. They cluster the state's Democratic voters into a few districts where they have huge majorities, and they spread the state's Republican voters into more districts where they have slimmer majorities. So in District 12, the Democrat won by almost 60%. No Republican won a district by more than 30%. That meant they could win more districts and more House seats in total. And that's what happens when you let politicians choose their voters. This is how Canada did it too, but then in the 1960s, they took the power away from partisan politicians and gave it to independent commissions. America could do this too if it wanted, and then we could stop feeling bad about how much better Canada is at elections, and instead feel good that we get to wear such a nice, polite country as a hat.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Ezra Klein, for that kind of that brilliant analysis of America's hat versus our own political process. And you know, it's not enough that just that we do just that. Apparently, this happened at 8 p.m. today. At least that's when the story broke out on Politicus USA. Florida judge orders state legislature to revise their unconstitutional electoral map. Just now. So last month, Judge Lewis ruled an electoral map that enabled Republicans to control 17 of 27 districts was unconstitutional. And yeah, this is pretty much all because of Republicans rigging the election by drawing where their voters are going to be. So again, Ezra's little analysis there was accompanied by a lovely animation, which, however, does not do well for a live stream kind of thing, or really even audio. Kind of destroys it. So please go out and check out that video link. I'm not really going to get into the way they did it here in Florida, just because, well, Florida's usually a mess, but they are also referring to cases in Georgia, and well, there's an awful lot going on with this. And thankfully, they're finally making a difference and getting us out of the Stone Age, I guess. No, it's not even the Stone Age. It's just stupid.
It's worse.
Yeah. Stupid ages.
It's something. It's something stupid. So speaking of stupid, the National Review has declared war against the nerds. Now, I'm a big fan of the rather silly Revenge of the Nerds movies.
Oh yeah, they're great.
So,
good times.
So we already know that no war is ever going to be won versus the nerds, because they're nerds. Come on, they're gonna think it through and they're gonna beat you.
They control the technology.
Yeah, this rather editorialized story was courtesy of Salon, who is known for rather editorialized stories. Let's see what they say here. Something about Dwight Eisenhower calling Robert Oppenheimer a pencil neck geek. Yeah, that could have happened.
Yeah, I've heard that rumor before. It's never been confirmed though.
Yeah, well, we'd have to ask them, and well, that's kind of hard.
Considering they're all dead now.
They're dead. Yeah. Trouble with confirming rumors like that.
Yeah.
So let me see here.
I mean,
what was his name? I've had a long week, so pardon me for being a little bit slow off the lead here. Let's see. Prominent examples include MSNBC's Melissa Harris Perry, Rachel Maddow, Steve Kroenke, and Chris Hayes. Vox's Ezra Klein, Dylan Matthews, and Matt, I'm going to butcher his name, Iglesi. The sabermetrician Nate Silver. We like Nate Silver because, well, he predicts things really well. The economist Paul Krugman, and atheist Richard Dawkins, former Vice President Al Gore, and celebrity scientist Bill Nye. Now, here's the thing about all of these science people. They all have a fairly liberal bend to their politics. And, well, that just steams the right-wing portion of our government and population.
Yeah, they hate that the most educated people in the world are all liberals.
Yeah, so...
Womp womp.
I've seen it out there a few times, this little meme, where reality has a liberal bias. And, you know, I really kind of am forced to agree, because all of the people on that list, being liberal, they're also all science-minded. And a science-minded person is a fact-driven person. So if you manage to somehow convince them, it's going to be with better facts. That's all it takes, actually, to change someone's mind. In fact, the recent, I'm going to graciously call it a debate between Bill Nye and Ken Ham of the Creation Institute. When asked, you know, what would it take to change your views on, you know, one way or the other, Ken Ham essentially said that he wouldn't under any circumstances because he has a book, and the book tells him everything he needs to know. That book
basically it was, I'm better than you, that makes me right, so I don't have to change my mind.
No. Quite literally, all he said was, I have a book.
Oh, I read it.
Said it like
I read into that. I read into that way more subtext than you did, apparently. But I'm watching this arrogant ass and just thinking, you just think you're better than everyone else.
Well,
who the fuck are you?
Absolutely. But, you know, I don't need to read any subtext into it because on the surface it's horrible. I don't have to. And then, when Bill Nye was asked what would change his beliefs, he said facts.
Proof.
Just one proof. And then he gave examples of the kind of proof that he would need.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be the same kind of proof that any scientist would need. Actual proof.
Yeah,
Shocking,
so,
I know.
I mean, on that other side, what if the book they picked up wasn't the Bible? Wonder if it was the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe.
What if the book that they decided to follow were the complete works of Lovecraft?
There you go.
That'd be a little creepy there.
Awake, ye scary, grateful ones, let everything dismay.
That's great.
That is not mine. There is a I don't remember what they're called, but they're a group, and they're, you know, Lovecraft fans, and they make Christmas carols that are Lovecraft themes. I'll have to get the name so I can plug them sometime.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Cook honestly wanted to grapple with the cultural cachet of nerddom, he'd have to answer questions such as why a poll by the Pew Research Service found that in 2009 only 6% of scientists identify as Republican.
Yeah, that's a small amount.
6%, people.
6%.
Yeah. Now, I will say that Pew Research, I'm not really sure about how great their polling is, and they do tend to poll the same people over and over again. They've got a bit of a rep for that. And being in a scientific field, I've seen many very Republican scientists and doctors and whatnot. They're very conservative, but they're also of the old guard. And I've noticed that as we go through the various generations, and there's a lot of research on this, that the younger the person, the more likely they're going to identify with a more liberal outlook on politics and life and science.
Well, and
so,
in those cases, even if they are the old guard, even if they are somewhat Republican, that could be a different. I mean, there's different levels or different sections of conservatism. I mean, there's fiscal conservatism, and that could be a broad range. If you're saying Republican or conservative, they could be that, but it could be a different area, and they're still scientists, and they're still going on that science fact is good, or else they wouldn't be doing that for a living.
Yes. Well, it's interesting that they choose to actually make these attacks against people that are demonstrably smarter than they are. They are, and I'm very pleased finally that some very smart people are actually percolating to the surface of culture, because really, I think that it's more important to praise a scientist for their discoveries than to praise a football star for passing the ball downfield and making a touchdown goal thing. I don't.
A long ways. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, one's an achievement, and one is I was playing a game. I suppose it's a personal achievement, but really, I think that the disparity in pay raise and worship.
It's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. No. Not really. You know.
No. Because we don't hear anything about a lot of the scientific stuff, but yet sports is on in every bar, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
Every restaurant, every place that people hang out, they now have TVs with sports on.
It's let's see, what was it? The opiate of the masses.
Yeah.
I guess.
Something like that.
Things like that. The Romans, they just throw another Christian to the lions, right? That was entertaining.
Which never actually happened.
No, of course not. I know it doesn't. I know it didn't happen, but that's what everybody thinks. However, there were slaves, and there were gladiators, and often the gladiators were able to fight their way to freedom. This did actually happen. There was a thing. There was a bit of an honor code in even those circles.
Well, the whole slavery thing in the Roman Empire was not slavery as we know it by experience here in America, for example. If you were property, you could buy yourself, and slaves did.
Yeah.
Slaves owned other slaves. They bought their own freedom. They became full citizens. It happened all the time. It was a social strata you had to get out of, and it wasn't really. I mean, yes, you were a lower class of citizen, but you were still a citizen of Rome, which put you pretty well off.
Which is good. Of course, things have. Rome also fell, which is sad. But now we have people able to print their vaginas.
So, one step forward?
Well, I suppose that's what's forward. And, yeah. So a Tokyo-based artist was arrested for 3D printing her vagina.
And actually, the story is that she was arrested for selling artwork made from her 3D printed vagina.
Yeah, they have some really weird decency things over there.
Megumi Igarashi, 42-year-old artist in Tokyo, arrested in Tokyo for transmitting 3D models of her vagina, which, under Japanese obscenity laws, is considered illegal. Sent the files via email to customers who bought copies on her website. She was raising money to build a vagina-shaped boat. Wow.
And now that she's been arrested, and this story, if the story is really gets out, she'll probably get a lot of money from it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably from America.
Oh yeah.
I think everybody would think this is a really good idea.
I thought this was fun since I have a 3D printer en route to me now. So I however do not plan on printing any watercraft designed around labias. That's just not something that I'm interested in.
Always bottle rockets.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
But whatever.
yeah. There you go. It's an interesting little article, and actually somebody did manage to actually 3D print a vagina boat and put like one of those little Tykes people in the boat. So
That's
yeah,
great.
you should definitely go check the URL. Wow. Okay, so the American lifespan. It's changed obviously over the years, and with that we've also seen the steady rise of when you're supposed to be able to retire and collect, retirement benefits from the state and things like that. But this little chart is kind of horrible.
Mm-hmm.
The average American man lives to be about 76 years old, and the average woman until 81. At this chart, it shows a week by week. It shows across the top 52 weeks, and then down through for years. So it's actually a very elegant system for tracking your life and seeing how much of it you've wasted. Really. So the early years, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, that takes you up through 22, and then graduate school, if applicable, is another couple of years, and then you got career section down through until you're about 63 on average, and then retirement age, and then about middle of that retirement age, because it goes down to 90.
Yeah, that's when everybody dies.
And that's pretty much where everybody's dead. Yeah. But the
on average,
right at 75, there's the average male life expectancy. Dead. Of course, they did throw in a few little interesting tidbits, like when you can drive, when you can vote, when you can legally drink, when the average week a woman has her first child. The average week when men first marry, let's see, that was based in 1960.
Week when you can legally drink.
Yeah. The average amount of time a couple who divorces will stay together.
Which they said was 7 years. Which comes
7-year itch. I'm telling you, it's a thing. We talked about that earlier.
Yep.
Average length of time someone stays in a job. Which
how
is,
long?
Let's see, what was that? It's like 5 years.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
1, 2. Yeah, 5 years. I don't know. I've stayed at some jobs longer than that. Mm-hmm. Just the way things work out. I know some people say that you got to bounce after 2 years to keep your pay rate going up. Yeah. I find that rather difficult, especially in Florida. And then average lengths of time somebody stays at a job, and then right after that, right about age 47, is the average life expectancy in Sierra Leone. Ugh. Telling you, the world's a harsh place. But if you want to kind of see a nice infographic kind of looking thing of how your life might be, just if it was a chart, and to be utterly depressed with where you are right now, how much time you have left, and where things are going to sit, this is definitely the chart for you. Go check it out.
Or don't. Preferably don't.
It's illuminating. It's truly illuminating. No. I'm terribly sorry for it. Okay. So let's talk about politics, because that's pretty much the rest of the show.
Again.
That is much of the show.
yeah, it's pretty much the rest of the show. So in Alabama, state official, let's say, what's his name? Because I'm going to call him out on this. Let's see. Yes. At their news conference today, Kavanaugh and PSC Commissioner-elect Chip Beaker invoked the name of God in stating their opposition to the EPA proposal. Beaker, a Republican who is running unopposed for a PSC seat, said, "Coal was created in Alabama by God, and the federal government should not enact policy that runs counter to God's plan. Who has the right, quote, who has the right to take what God's given a state," he said.
Let's see. The people who you're going to poison by burning all that coal and putting it into the atmosphere.
We could go a lot more simply. Who gave them the right to claim that area of land as a state to say that it was claimed by God, or given to by God?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't yours first, guys. We're going to talk about this whole placement by God thing. The Native Americans were there first, and y'all killed them and drove them west. Assholes.
Also, I don't see any lines on the ground.
Nope.
There aren't any lines on the ground, that's for sure.
Not yet, at least.
Now, of course, this comes from a very particular mindset, this kind of attitude. It comes from someone that doesn't believe in climate change, for one, because otherwise they wouldn't be opposing it.
Yeah.
They obviously don't believe in, I don't know, evolution, probably, because that would also invoke an older Earth, because that's where the coal came from, roughly 300 million years of highly compressed vegetation. Yeah, little thing like that. Now, I can see, of course, what he's doing. He's trying to really play to his constituency, and state is very heavily reliant upon the coal industry. They have 6 coal-fired power plants throughout the state, and that's $5.18 billion in revenue. That's a lot.
That's a lot of revenue.
That's a lot of revenue, so
Cash. A lot of cash.
you can see, of course, why they would be interested in trying to work the angle there to keep as much of that revenue as possible. But really, the EPA mandate is to decrease the national emissions 30% from where they are now by 2030. Oh, wow. So, and that would force Alabama alone to reduce its emissions by 27%. They are some dirty motherfuckers there.
Yup.
Yep.
Wow.
Have you ever been to Alabama? It's fucking filthy.
Wow. Well, no, I don't. I must say that I try not to spend a whole lot of time in that region of the country.
There's a reason for that.
Well, I'd probably be chased down the road if anyone knew of who I was and what I was all about. So I'm not really big on that. So.
No.
And then, of course, he says, in closing, I hope all citizens of Alabama will be in prayer that the right thing will be done. I wonder if he knows what the right thing to be done is. I wonder.
The right thing in his best interest, because he's probably getting paid to say that.
Oh, he's getting paid. Yeah. I'll definitely say he's getting paid. So, I'm sorry, Alabama. Your state is filled and run by idiots. So on to the real politics, because that was more of a kind of humanities kind of bend. You know, environmental issues. Yeah. Nah, it's all politics. What am I kidding? Okay, so the House has decided to sue Obama.
It is now official.
It is now official. And what's nice about our president is he's kind of laughing at it. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. You want to sue me for doing the job that you won't do? Okay. Now, I'm sure that we've already heard about this. Because of, I had already mentioned that, Boehner was trying to bring the suit specifically for saying that the president wasn't enacting his own law fast enough even though they've tried to overturn it more than 50 times.
Yeah, I saw a really interesting article about this just today. I was looking at this article, and it said, in order to sue someone under the grounds that they're suing, they have to show that they can claim damage was done in order to sue for damages. The fact that they have tried to defeat this measure over 50 times shows that they don't want it, therefore they can't claim damages if it's delayed, because they've tried to delay it themselves. So they've lost right there. The other one is that strictly according to the letter of the bill, strictly according to the letter of the law, the bill itself,
it's still being enacted, it's just being delayed.
Exactly. It doesn't say when it has to be enacted by. It just says that it has to be enacted. And it is the executive branch's job to enforce law. Congress, the legislative branch writes it. The executive branch enforces it. So in two ways, they don't have a fucking leg to stand on.
Yeah, they don't have the grounds to actually even bring the case.
Not their business. Not their business. Twice.
Yeah, it is truly laughable, really, what they're doing. And of course, Boehner is trying to say that this is not about impeachment, but it's about impeachment.
It's absolutely about impeachment. No, I at work, they have Fox News on for some ungodly reason in the break room, so I get to listen to a lot of their bullshit a lot of the time. And I've been there for 2 weeks. I've only been there for 2 weeks.
Okay.
In 2 weeks, I've gone from hearing Fox News talk about Republican politicians wanting to impeach the president to 2 days ago hearing them say Republicans have never talked about impeachment. That is entirely a Democratic overreaction. In 2 fucking weeks. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, the spin doctors are in surgery right now. Wow.
I don't think they ever take off. I don't think they ever take off their spin doctor scrubs over there. Ever.
Never. Since they've got so much damage that they have to control, they're always in the ER.
Yeah.
It's absolutely asinine. So obviously we're going to keep an eye on that because it's amusing. It's not going to go anywhere, and if it does, it's going to be overturned because they don't have standing.
There is no legal standing for this.
Yeah, I mean, okay, if I was a judge, I would just immediately, if I'm not, of course, in the pocket of the Koch brothers or, one of the right-wing super conservatives on the Supreme Court, which is unfortunately where this might end up. I would immediately say, you don't have grounds for this case. You've been trying to get rid of this law, and now you're suing that he wasn't doing it fast enough?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pure logic gate argument. It's like, you are fucking yourself.
You don't want it. 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 And then as soon as he says, "Okay, we're going to hold off for a few weeks," you're gonna say, "But we want it now."
And it was our idea the whole time.
No, it wasn't your. They must think. It was originally the Romney thing in Massachusetts, whatever it was. But anyway, they must think either they think the entire public of America has the memory of a goldfish, or they themselves have the memory of a goldfish.
It might.
I'm not sure which one is worse.
Yeah.
I think
maybe one comes before the other.
Yeah.
You have to have the mind of a goldfish to think that everybody else does too.
Yeah.
I don't know. They obviously think that whatever they continue to feed the turd machine that is Fox News is just gonna work. Yeah. And they have a really core constituency that just eats it all up with a spoon.
No.
I don't get it. It's vitriol. It's horrible. And it's wrong. It's just demonstrably wrong.
Yeah.
In the information age, you can just kind of go fact check these things because it's all on the record. You can just go back and look, and look, no, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
But you see, that is only something that you will ever see in liberal politics. Because if you ever watch a liberal news channel, you will see them put up the video of the statement that some politician just made, and then they'll wind the clock back like 2 or 3 years and see what they said 2 or 3 years ago. It's like,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
Liberals
why.
definitely have a memory longer than a goldfish.
and the Republican Party's icon is the elephant, which supposedly never forgets.
Well,
Irony.
You just brought up a point where why the satire news is now becoming popular, because it is so easy for them now to find the humor.
Oh God!
In
It's
real
so
life,
easy.
in the real
Yeah,
news.
they don't even have to do anything. They just have to play unedited clips of news channels.
Yeah.
John.
Okay, so
Thank you, John Stewart.
last week. By the way, Don, you're a little low, and that's kind of why we're continuing to step over you. And I've done everything I can to raise your audio level.
Okay.
So jump
Doing
in,
more.
like
Doing more.
yell at us.
Okay. Jumping.
Too.
Better.
Otherwise, it's not gonna hear you. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, alrighty.
Better. Better.
Yeah.
Better.
I only got 3 talking heads on this one, so I gotta have everybody talk. Okay. So last week, Senator Jim Inhofe, Republican, Oklahoma, voted against a Senate resolution that did nothing but acknowledge that climate change was real. There were no riders, no emission cap requirements, no pollution regulations. It just said climate change is real, and given that fact, it poses a threat to the United States. That's all the bill said. That's it.
Yep.
And he voted against it.
Of course, he voted against it.
Yeah.
Because to vote for it is to acknowledge that he is wrong, and it doesn't matter whether he's wrong or not. He's never going to admit it.
Inhofe, who staked his political career on loudly suggesting that climate change isn't real and probably invented by liberals, Obama, environmentalists, and climate scientists. This is all cited by the way.
Well, in the strictly speaking, that's true, but we only did it because the science says it's fucking true.
Well, no, we didn't invent it. We just labeled it. There it is.
Well, in the sense of inventing, as in saying Ben Franklin invented electricity. No, he didn't invent electricity, but
discovered the principle. So
yeah.
So he blocked the resolution. Of course, he, despite having zero scientific background, Inhofe lectured his fellow lawmakers about just how unreal climate change really is. He declared without proof that the Earth had experienced no warming for the last 15 years and waved around a petition from 9,000 mostly conservative, mostly non-climate scientists attesting to the fact that climate change wasn't happening.
Oh, 9,000 people. That's interesting because I had in my email inbox the other day a petition, one of several petitions of 100,000 people saying that climate change is real. And I've got like a dozen of these motherfuckers.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure I signed a couple of them.
Yeah.
Now, enter Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, which, by the way, I would really love to see Whitehouse in the White House. Because if for nothing less than just to play
for the pun alone, yeah.
Exactly, it's comic gold. Anyway, he's a Democrat from Rhode Island. Inhofe had his say, and then Whitehouse led into his spurious arguments, as if channeling the thoughts of every sound-minded person watching Inhofe's speech in horror. He started off saying, "I appreciate very much having had the opportunity to hear those words from what I can only describe as an alternate reality." He then followed up with an incredibly detailed rebuttal that demolished the entire argument point by point.
Hashtag mic drop.
Exactly. I could go ahead and play it. It's 7 minutes and 14 seconds. Please follow the link and then watch it yourself. Thank you, C-SPAN 2, for actually airing that so that we can rip everything that we want out of it. Now, let's see, after going through the evidence, 97, just some quick numbers, 97% of climate scientists have concluded that the Earth is warming. Now, the warming is happening mostly in the giant heat sinks we have called oceans, and that is driving certain certain very complex environmental conditions that unfortunately take more than just a standard college diploma to even understand.
I have tried as a layman to understand this, and I don't fully follow it. And I'm as we have, and I'm a smart guy. This is still beyond me. It's fucking complicated.
It's very much chaos theory. You know, who tries to predict the weather? What was it? Yankees and fools? I think that was what they said. You know,
Something like
in Florida. Now, it's hard because every little thing interacts with other things, and all the climate models that they've tried to do, they fall apart the further you go out. Mm-hmm. And so we have a lot of models, and a lot of these models, of course, are going to be wildly inaccurate. We've had models that were just spot on the next year, spot on the year after that, and wildly dead wrong the year after that.
In Cosmos, the new one, in Neil deGrasse Tyson, it explained climate change the best way possible in Cosmos. For those of you who haven't watched it, you need to go fucking watch it because you are missing the greatest thing I've ever seen on television. But Neil deGrasse Tyson is walking along the beach with a dog on a leash. And Neil deGrasse Tyson walks in a curved path. The dog wanders all over the fucking place. The dog is weather, Neil deGrasse Tyson is climate. Don't watch where the dog's going because he's all over the map. Watch where the center of that leash is moving. That's the trend. You know?
And it's long-term trends, of course, that we're looking at here.
Yeah.
But to know exactly what's going to happen when, we have to have some deep research. The oceans get rather cold at about 40 meters down. Pretty much universal.
Wicked cold.
And they get, frighteningly cold.
Yeah.
The problem is when you, as that layer of water, that cold water boundary,
which is called the thermocline, by the way.
Ah, thank you very much, Mr. Science. As the upper oceans continue to warm, then that's going to slowly creep that down. Now, that's going to have the effect of changing. Actually, it might not even creep down. It might stay exactly the same. This is where it gets complicated, kids, because that layer may stay the same, but both levels may change by degree points. Keeping that layer in the same place, which would be counterintuitive to somebody that's just looking at the surface and trying to figure it out. Just a couple degree points when you're working at extreme depths where there's insanely high pressure and cold, that is where a great deal of methane is sequestered in the ocean floors from countless generations of whales and other things just dying and falling down to the bottom. You know, it's all sequestered there. And you'll hear sequestration of carbon in many things, but you may not know what it means. That sequestering carbon is taking carbon out and putting it in a sink somewhere where it is stored. So a tree is a carbon sink. Just a tree on its own is taking carbon, because that's what it does. It takes carbon out of the atmosphere and then gives us wonderful life-giving oxygen. But it's taking that carbon in and it's not letting it go. It's holding it in the trunk. It's building the tree itself out of that. So just burning a tree, you're releasing carbon dioxide. You're releasing that carbon into the air. Now, down in the way, way deep, you have methane. Now, methane is a much worse greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide by, I think, 3 to 1. It's big. The number's probably wrong. Go look for yourself. Now, as the oceans warm, more of that methane is going to be released. More of the methane is going to then percolate all the way up to the surface, and then it's, of course, going to go into the atmosphere, and then a sight unseen thing is going to then start a cascade event, essentially, in our climate, and there is no way around that. There just isn't. It is kind of a doomsday scenario. We don't know when it's going to happen. But because of the model is very complex, and the world does have certain ways of regulating itself. Many times we'll see hurricanes go through and it's kind of like a burp of the atmosphere. Things get dramatically changed and heat gets moved all over the place and it changes the climate of the world for a little while. And that's really difficult to predict, especially when you're dealing with other massive variables. But eventually, if trends continue, and we're talking about the long-term trends, eventually the oceans are going to warm, and that methane that's stored at the bottom is going to percolate up through, and then it's going to get in the atmosphere, and it's going to store more heat energy from our wonderful radiation source, the sun, and we're going to slowly get warmer and warmer and warmer, which will then melt the ice caps, which will then raise the water level in different ways in different places in the world, and you're going to have new beachfront property. And that's just the way it is. All the models, no matter what, the only thing they disagree about is how much and when. Not that it's not happening.
It's just we're not sure how fast it's happening.
Yeah, but it's all there.
Because this is these are all geological scales, and geological scales, thousands of years is like an eye blink,
Yeah, exactly. That's just how it is. So, of course, I've taken away the spotlight by just trying to explain a little bit more of climate change, but it's worth going into. What Mr. Whitehouse said, I'll give him a little time here. Let me tell you some of the government agencies who are so-called colluding together. How about NASA? We trust them to send our astronauts into space. We trust them to deliver a rover the size of an SUV to the surface of Mars safely and drive it around, sending data and pictures back from Mars to us. You think these people know what they're talking about? How about the United States Navy? The Commander-in-Chief of our Pacific Command? Is he colluding when he said that? If you want to ignore the federal government, if you live in a world in which you think the federal government colludes with itself to make up things that aren't true, okay. But look at the property casualty insurance and reinsurance industry. They're the people with the biggest bet on this. They have billions of dollars riding on getting it right, and they say climate change is real. Carbon pollution is causing it. We've got to do something about it. So does the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, because they care about the poor and the effect this will have on the people who have the least. So does every major U.S. scientific society, every single one.
This is one of those places where your favorite phrase, Andy, follow the money. Where's the money going? When you follow the money on this one, it's going to all the people who are saying better safe than sorry and betting on climate change happening. And not just happening, but happening in our lifetime.
Yeah, we're talking 50 years here.
Yeah.
We're going to have some very serious changes in 50 years. And based on that earlier chart, hopefully I'm still alive.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though I may have quite a bit more of a tan than I want.
No, but then if you're still in Florida.
Well, I'll need a surfboard.
Yeah,
this house is going to be underwater.
You might be moving back to the city.
No, I'll just get out of Florida. Screw this.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go north. I'm going to be looking for some mountain retreat. Unfortunately, despite Inhofe being roasted over the coals of climate change, he still managed to block the resolution, which required unanimous consent. So even so, thanks to people like Whitehouse, things are getting better and better effectively communicating these things. That the villages need their idiots back. So they need to call them back from Congress and Senate, and they need to not be there governing us any further.
Yeah, it's just it's not just science that these people don't get. It's history as well.
Mm-hmm. If
you look at history, scientists have long been demonized. This whole climate change is a lie thing. Is not new. Is not a new trend to the scientific community. Oh, we just discovered something they don't want to hear, so they're ostracizing us. Oh well, because they did that to people like Galileo and Copernicus, and the guy who discovered germ theory, whose name eludes me, and all these people. And all of those things they said were true are now accepted as fact today.
Mm-hmm.
So
the Earth isn't round; it's flat.
you would think that people would learn from history that history is going to side with science, and they would just get on the fucking train already.
Well, they've managed to revise so much of the history that they can't tell anymore. You know, they've just said they've moved the goalpost, as it were. And it's like, okay, so, let's see. There was a Neil deGrasse Tyson quote that is now escaping me because I'm tired. I'll put it out there somewhere. Moving on.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
It'll come up again.
In a prelude to our next show, which, by the way, is going to be all about Gaza and Israel. That's going to be a good show.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, I'm not really going to pull a whole lot of stories, but really we're going to try and kind of dig in a little bit and figure out what the real crux of the matter is there. But one story that came out this week, there was a power plant. Apparently there's only one power plant in Gaza. Gaza is not a big place, so that makes sense. But it was bombed, so they have no power out there. Did you know, though, it was insured by the U.S. government?
Who thought that was a good decision?
Yeah,
I thought insurance companies were all for making safe bets.
Yeah,
insuring something in a war-torn region like that?
No, that's the government.
Somebody's getting fired over that one.
The government insures anything that nobody else wants to insure.
Someone's getting fired over that one.
$84 million to compensate an American company for losses sustained in the Israeli bombardment of a Gaza power plant. The money would come from the Overseas Private Investment Corporation, OPIC, which helps U.S. companies expand businesses abroad in ways that, to quote OPIC's website, quote, help solve critical development challenges and in doing so advance U.S. foreign policy.
Sure.
The agency does all this in part by offering insurance policies designed to protect companies from political risk, a broad term that includes war, civil strife, coups, and terrorism. So, that's interesting. Wasn't really aware that we were in that business in any way. Obviously, I know that we're into spending lots and lots of our tax dollars helping people all the way around the world and not helping people here. I know that. That's obvious. But wow, I did not know that we were in the business of essentially giving away money by backing those really poor investments in other countries in war-torn regions. So it just goes to show that more of your tax dollars are used in terrible welfare ideas than could possibly be done here in the States. Isn't that great? Billions and billions and billions of dollars going to Israel, who's just blowing their shit up, and then we have to give them more money to rebuild it. If they were a child and they broke their toy,
I wouldn't get them a new fucking toy.
Yeah, would the parent then just shell out more money for it and say, I'm very sorry that you blew up your toy?
Not any parent that I know.
It's irresponsible. And I'm rather upset. But we'll go into more of the Israeli and Gaza and Hamas and
all that nonsense.
All that wonderful nonsense that we hear everything about, and all the women and children being blown to bits while they're just trying to escape. We'll go into all that next week. Isn't that going to be a fun episode? It's going to be so much fun.
It'll certainly be an interesting episode.
I'm gonna rant and rant and rant and rant. And
Oh,
rant.
I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah.
This is gonna be one of my better ones. Buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I've already started populating the show notes for that episode, mostly with links. It's going to be a lot of wiki, just kind of looking at the history of how things are and why we are involved at all, why it's an issue, etc., etc., etc. Because, I think a lot of young people don't get it.
No, they don't.
The younger generation is going to look at it and say, why are they fighting? Why is this a big deal? It doesn't make any sense.
I've been paying attention since a very young age because, I was told that learning history and learning about other places other than America is important because so many people in America are like, what, there are other countries in the world? What?
Yes.
Ugh, it's ridiculous. But, I've been paying attention since, before the Gulf War era. And maybe I had more reason to pay attention because my dad went out to Desert Storm and all this stuff. But, yeah, what the hell are we doing there? Nobody wants us there. We're not involved. Except that we keep sticking our big fat nose in it. One of these days, we're gonna get a black eye. And then people are gonna throw up their arms and be like, "Oh, I never saw this coming." Come on, really?
Well, here's the real problem. We're in a completely no-win situation because, okay, the president today signed an executive order for something very mundane: the ability for people to unlock their cell phones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's very mundane, but it's also it's a freedom that they usually have in other parts of the world. The carrier lock phones and things like that are not something that is outside of this country. We don't seem to know that. Everybody else, they buy their phone outright for large amounts of money, like the iPhone at $650, and it's theirs. They can take it to any carrier they want.
They do what the fuck they want with it.
Yeah. Here in the States, we have carrier lock-in and all that fun stuff. So, little thing that he did. Not 2 comments down on the White House Facebook page, where he was in issuing that little decree, was an immediate thing of, there are women and children dying in Israel, what are you doing?
It's not our fucking business. That's what we're doing. Oh my god, I want to punch people. I know.
It's like,
why?
Really?
We got enough problems in our own goddamn backyard. Get us out of the fucking sandbox already.
I'm just thinking, you don't already... You think he doesn't already know that that's what's going on? Really? So your little, jab at him on Facebook is going to do anything at all?
Your teeny tiny pathetic fucking pea brain thinks that you're smarter than people who do politics for a living.
And also, it's not our country.
It's not our fucking country.
What is he supposed to do about it?
Not a goddamn thing. It's what he should do.
Well, really, what could he do?
He could say, "Hey guys, you should stop fighting," and then they're gonna say, and then they're just gonna go blow up another building.
There was apparently supposed to be a 72-hour ceasefire.
There was.
8.
Well, no. The ceasefire in question, it had a variable.
It was just it was broken. Well, before the 72-hour.
Oh, you mean the last one? No, but there is a ceasefire that it had a variable duration. It had a minimum duration of 5 hours. At 5 hours and 1 minute, someone pushed the fire button on a missile. These people don't give a fuck. They don't want peace. They want to kill each other, and nothing we do in our ivory towers here in America is gonna fucking change anything.
Nope.
No, all we're doing is giving them more guns.
Exactly.
And
That's
our
really
opinion
all we're doing.
opinion seems to be infuriating them. They don't want to know our opinion. They want to.
Our opinion doesn't fucking matter to them.
Well, no. There's, in their minds right now, there's 2 sides. There's Palestine and Hamas. Essentially.
Yeah.
And you have two factions that are behind that. You've got the Muslim faction and you've got the Jewish faction. What you have is a holy war. These don't end well.
You cannot reason with a zealot. No. It cannot be done.
And they know this. They know this at a fundamental level. They are not trying to get resolution. They are trying to kill them all.
Yeah.
It's really kind of plain. But as far as why and all that, I don't want to get into it too much now, but that's just a little
sneak
teaser
of next week.
It's a little teaser. It's gonna get bloody. Hopefully not as bad as Gaza, but yeah, it's gonna be something. So, as far as picks, because screw it, I think we're done.
Yeah.
So my pick is Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia. Go out there, join up with them if you have something that you're passionate about. Find it on Wikipedia, read their page, and if you know more about the subject than the page does, then you should probably be updating the page.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that you should do it willy-nilly, because you can't. I mean, you could, but somebody's going to go through and stomp all over you. So do it the right way. And the Guerrilla Skepticism team, they are experts at how things have to be formatted, exactly what needs to go in, and keeping it level. The bias meter that needs to stay right in the middle is neutral. That's what they're working on. So it's basically keep it skeptical, which means it could go either way, right down the middle. And if you know something and you're passionate about it and you've got some free time, get involved. Skeptic Action on Twitter, GSOW Project is the Facebook page, and there's a couple other sites, Rebuttal, which is rbutr.com, and Web of Trust, or mywot.com. Go out there and see what you can do. They're totally willing to help you, and there's a lot that can be done. And we'll probably have them on later. And also, Susan was interested in possibly doing an interview, so maybe she'll be our first interview.
Cool.
Very cool.
But we'll get a few of our specials out of the way. So again, that's show 18. That's next week. That's going to be all about Gaza and Israel and all that stuff. Show 19 is going to be a regular old, cavalcade of weirdness.
Cavalcade of nonsense.
Yeah, cavalcade of nonsense.
Our bread and butter.
Yes. And episode 20, that's going to be our mental health episode. So.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
That's right. Oh, really? So that'll be August 22nd.
I'm going to start preparing now.
That's probably a good idea. You do that. That's what I want to hear. So. And Don, you had a pick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, after last week's show and then a sustained power outage in our neighborhood, actually in a few neighborhoods, I think 1,300 houses around here were out power for a number of hours. I decided to do a few things for hurricane preparedness. One is a battery power pack. This one's Anchor or Anchor maybe.
I think it's Anchor. Yeah, it's ANKHR. ANKER. So Anchor would probably be right. 1,500 milliamps. It says it will charge an iPhone like 7 or 8 times. This one even has a little flashlight on it and says at a full charge the little LED flashlight will last 70,000 hours. As I think what it says. I may have misread that, but it was one LED will be powered from that for a long time. It's a big, high-capacity, high-density lithium-ion battery in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have yet to test it. I would like to, and that's probably what I'll do tonight is put my iPhone on it to charge. But tomorrow, I would like to try out the solar panels.
That was the sound of Velcro for those of us in our audio-only audience.
Sorry, and I probably hit the microphone while doing so. Yeah. So, anyways, yes, it's a Anchor as well. It's a 14-watt solar charger. I put the links on the show notes to these on Amazon. Fairly reasonably priced. I have, like I say, have yet to test, but I will hopefully have them tested by next week. And
I see it's got some nice grommets there for like lashing it to a tent or something like that.
Yeah, hanging them up, folding them into different shapes. I mean, you can make some artwork out of it. Triangles.
Chase the sun.
Yep. The box. I don't know. Whatever. The sky's the limit, I guess, or the sun's the limit.
Mileage may vary on that one.
We'll see. We'll see how it is, and because hurricane season, that's one thing. I had battery backups, and the one for my TV went dead within like 5 minutes because it's actually running a TV downstairs. Upstairs, I have a battery backup on my cable modem and all sorts of other wireless, and my wireless router and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That had no problem. That probably would have lasted for a day or more. So keeping, I mean...
Yeah, UPSs, or the uninterruptible power supplies that people have for their computers, they're not designed to run the computer like a laptop. They're designed to save your data and shut the computer down safely.
Yeah.
So maybe 15 minutes, and that's...
And in Florida, they're meant to sustain you through the brownouts and short blackouts of normal lightning storms that we get on an almost daily basis.
Because apparently we have the shittiest power grid in the United States of America.
It's debatable. It's debatable, but yeah.
Of all the places I have lived, this one's the shittiest.
Well, it's the high rate of lightning strikes that probably causes some of the problems.
When I was in South Carolina, they have lightning storms where the lightning falls in sheets, not bolts, and it is pretty much all night, as bright as it is during the day. So I know what a bad lightning storm looks like.
Mm-hmm.
The power grid in Columbia, South Carolina, not a fucking peep.
Now, were the cables above ground, or they buried?
Buried.
That's the thing. Here in Florida, we have very few neighborhoods that have buried cables because we have a high water table. So
what I mean is they had a mix. They had both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Florida has both, and in neighborhoods you have underground, but your major ones where a lot of...
It depends on how old the neighborhood is. I'm in an old neighborhood, 50s, 60s, and yeah, they're all on the poles. Nothing's buried. So it depends on where you are. But yeah, if we get a good windstorm, yeah, they're gone. They're gone.
It's fucking pathetic.
What it is. So
we do have good power line workers because they do repair things fairly quickly. They've
got a lot of fucking practice.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. Yeah, they're top notch here.
Yeah.
So those are some great picks, and I think that everyone should have a backup strategy, and at the very least have some inverter or something so that you go out to your vehicle of choice and power up and stay in communication with all of your mobile wares.
Communication's important.
Yes.
So, Mike, do you got any picks?
Oh, let's see. What can I pull out of my butt at the last second, like I always do?
We do this every week.
Pretty much. And yet, I never think about it because I'm always distracted, usually by games, which is why I usually plug a game. So, what have I been doing? Well, I was on the interwebs the other day, and I saw... I know, total shocker. And I saw that the next iteration of the venerable series of Sims games is happening soon.
Really?
Yes, it is going to be this sometime this fall. I think September, October is the release date. And in preparation for this, they've done something which I feel they should have been doing for since the series began, because again we're on iteration 4 now. For those loyal customers like me who cannot help but buy every expansion pack for this silly game ever, for every pack you have bought, for your participation and your loyalty, they will give you rewards when you get the next game. So
really,
Yeah,
Right?
so that's fun. So if you are a fan of the series, for the longtime fans of the series like me, if your Sims 3 collection is not complete yet, and you've never gotten around to it, or you felt like I'm not going to because it's about to be obsolete, well, there's reason to finish your collection now, because for everything you have, you get a reward. And for those of you who maybe never given a try to The Sims, well, they're giving it a big overhaul, and they're focusing more on the social engineering part and less upon some other aspects that they have in the past. So it's going to be more about the interactions between the Sims than it is about maintenance of their daily life, which is a cool focus. Like last week, because I wasn't here last week, the week before when I plugged SimCity Societies, they're going kind of the same route with the new Sims. It's all about social engineering and interaction. And I can't describe what makes it fun, but I know that I have spent hours and hours absorbed into this goddamn game. So there's something there that makes it entertaining for just ever. So I would highly recommend The Sims.
Well, I've played a little bit of The Sims, and I found it tedious and boring.
Well, there are part of it that kind of are tedious and boring, and that's the thing that they're doing with the new changes, is getting rid of some of the dull procedure and maintenance and focusing on the interactions and fulfilling lifetime wishes and things like that. So,
Lifetime wishes.
oh yeah, they got this whole system where you say, okay, this is my Sim's dream, and he wants to do this, and you fulfill your wishes, and you get points that give you like cool items that do crazy stuff. So, there's all sorts of cool things going on.
Okay. Well, that sounds pretty cool, and I'll see what I can do about actually getting any sort of link to that kind of recommendation in there. Though mostly your recommendation is just, hey, go ahead and populate everything because the latest one coming out is going to be cool if you have the other ones.
It is mostly that, but I think in the buzz of the new one coming out, a lot of people may have missed that. So, I sure did.
Well, it could be helpful to you out there in internet.
You out there in internet land who is a fan.
That's right. You. That one person out there.
No, not you. Behind you, the one in the middle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that one?
No, not that guy. The other guy.
Yeah, listen, anyway. All right. Well, that'll do it for tonight. We have actually kind of a short episode today.
Surprising.
Hey.
So get on with your life, people, and have a great weekend. And I don't know. Anything else? Last call?
No. Adios.
All right.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Drink responsibly.
Tschüss, bis dann. Bye-bye. That's it for us tonight. We hope you've enjoyed the show as much as we've enjoyed making it. This is the part where I beg for audience participation. Head over to ORlyRadio.com. That's ORLY Radio.com and participate in the live stream. Chat with us during the show on our IRC, and if you have topic ideas, email them to us at ORlyRadioPodcast@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail at 470-222-ORLY6759 and post and vote on stories on our subreddit at reddit.com/r/ORlyRadio. And if that wasn't enough, we're all over the web. Check out our Facebook page, our Twitter, our Tumblr, our Google+, and even video of the show archived at youtube.com. Consider leaving us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, or if you really love us, consider help offset the cost of the show by contributing on our Patreon page, accessible through the Help Us on our homepage. We really can't thank you enough for spending time with us. Until next time, this has been ORly Radio, part of the Common Services Network. Music Rocket and Pangea provided by Kevin MacLeod at Incomptech.com.